El Salvador, the smallest country in Central America, is a land defined by its vibrant culture, rich history, and resilient people. From the moment you step onto its sun-drenched streets or gaze across its rolling volcanoes, it's easy to feel the pulse of a nation shaped by centuries of convergence. Before diving into the lives and stories of the people who call this land home, imagine standing on a beach in La Libertad, hearing the waves crash while the aroma of fresh pupusas fills the air, and realizing that every corner of this country has a story waiting to be uncovered. The story of El Salvador is not just about geography or landmarks. It is about the people, their journeys, and the cultures that have woven together to create something uniquely Salvadoran. The majority of its population identifies as mestizo, a fusion of indigenous and European ancestry that has shaped the nation's identity for centuries. Mestizos make up roughly 86.3% of the population, and their presence is felt in every corner of Salvadoran life, from language and cuisine to music and festivals. The blend of traditions that defines the mestizo experience is the result of centuries of intermingling between the Spanish colonizers who arrived in the 16th century and the native peoples who had lived in the region long before. These communities adapted to new social structures, embraced Christianity while retaining elements of pre-Columbian beliefs, and developed a cultural identity that remains the backbone of Salvadoran society today. Life in mestizo-dominated areas often revolves around communal activities, from family gatherings to town festivals, and this strong sense of community is mirrored in the urban and rural neighborhoods across the country. In cities such as San Salvador, the capital, middle-class homes in suburban areas average between $175,000 and $250,000, reflecting the city's growing economy and demand for modern housing. Neighborhoods here often feature a mix of contemporary architecture and colonial-era influences, providing a living environment that merges comfort with tradition. Beyond the mestizo majority, indigenous communities continue to preserve the roots of El Salvador's earliest civilizations. Though less than 1% of the population, groups such as the Pipil and Lenca carry forward traditions that date back centuries. The Pipil historically inhabited the western regions, building towns and ceremonial centers that were central to their social and spiritual life, while the Lenca, located east of the Lempa River, maintained agricultural communities and intricate craft traditions. Despite enduring centuries of marginalization, these communities have remained steadfast in protecting their languages, crafts, and rituals. Efforts to revitalize indigenous languages and practices have grown in recent decades, with schools and cultural organizations encouraging younger generations to learn ancestral words, songs, and ceremonies. Homes in indigenous areas tend to be more modest, with prices ranging from $60,000 to $150,000, offering a quieter, slower-paced life compared to the bustling cities. These rural regions are not only centers of cultural preservation but also attractive to those seeking to live in harmony with nature and ancestral landscapes. Afro-Salvadorans, although a smaller fraction of the population, have left an indelible mark on the cultural and social fabric of the nation. Descendants of African slaves brought during the colonial period, they have enriched El Salvador with music, dance, and culinary traditions that reflect resilience and creativity. Despite facing systemic barriers for centuries, Afro-Salvadorans have preserved elements of African heritage, blending them seamlessly with indigenous and European influences. Communities often celebrate their identity through vibrant festivals, rhythmic drumming, and storytelling that highlight historical struggles and triumphs. Real estate in Afro-Salvadoran neighborhoods reflects both historical marginalization and modern efforts at development, with homes ranging widely in price depending on urban proximity, from modest apartments under $100,000 to more substantial properties in emerging middle-class districts. European Salvadorans, primarily of Spanish descent, maintain a more subtle yet influential presence in the country. Historically, they held prominent roles in politics, education, and commerce, shaping national policies and cultural institutions. The architectural legacy of European Salvadorans can still be seen in historic neighborhoods, government buildings, and old colonial churches that blend Spanish styles with local construction techniques. Although their numbers have declined over generations, European Salvadorans continue to influence the cultural and economic landscape. Real estate in areas with European heritage often commands higher prices, reflecting the desirability of neighborhoods with historic character and established infrastructure. Homes in these areas range from $200,000 to $400,000, depending on size, amenities, and proximity to urban centers. Migration to and within El Salvador is also closely tied to economic opportunity, safety, and lifestyle preferences. Many mestizo families have moved from rural communities to cities in search of employment, education, and better access to healthcare. Similarly, expatriates and retirees from North America and Europe are increasingly drawn to coastal towns and quieter inland regions, where average home prices are often more affordable, ranging between $60,000 and $150,000. These areas offer a mix of serene natural surroundings, cultural immersion, and proximity to urban conveniences, making them appealing for those seeking a balance between tranquility and accessibility. Coastal towns such as La Libertad and El Tunco have seen a rise in property demand due to their scenic beaches, surfing opportunities, and growing tourism infrastructure. The history of El Salvador is intertwined with centuries of struggle and resilience, from pre-Columbian civilizations to Spanish colonization, independence movements, and civil conflicts in the 20th century. These historical currents have shaped the country's demographic distribution, economic development, and cultural identity. Indigenous and Afro-Salvadoran communities, for example, bear the marks of past oppressions but continue to assert their presence through cultural preservation and community initiatives. Mestizos have carried forward the hybrid cultural identity forged during colonization, serving as the social and economic backbone of contemporary Salvadoran life. European descendants have left a lasting imprint on education, law, and commerce, creating structural foundations that still influence modern society. Cultural traditions in El Salvador are as diverse as its people. Mestizo communities celebrate patron saint festivals with music, dance, and traditional foods such as pupusas, while indigenous groups maintain ceremonies tied to the agricultural calendar and ancestral beliefs. Afro-Salvadoran communities host lively dance performances, often accompanied by marimba music and rhythmic drumming, highlighting the synthesis of African and Latin American cultural expressions. European Salvadorans, meanwhile, have contributed to formalized cultural events, educational institutions, and literary movements that have shaped national identity. The interweaving of these cultural strands makes El Salvador a vibrant mosaic of customs and traditions. Housing in El Salvador varies significantly depending on location, community, and economic status. In urban centers like San Salvador, middle-class housing ranges from $175,000 to $250,000, offering modern amenities, access to schools, and commercial hubs. In smaller cities or towns, such as Santa Ana or Sensuntepec, housing prices drop to between $60,000 and $150,000, often reflecting more spacious properties and proximity to natural landscapes. Coastal and tourist-friendly areas such as La Libertad, El Tunco, and Barra de Santiago have also attracted expatriates and investors, with property prices ranging widely depending on beachfront access and development level. Rural indigenous areas, while less developed, provide affordable housing with strong ties to tradition and community, allowing residents to maintain cultural practices while enjoying the land. Exploring El Salvador is not just about visiting landmarks or counting statistics. It is about immersing oneself in the stories of the people, the rhythm of daily life, and the contrasts between urban energy and rural serenity. From bustling markets to quiet village squares, from coastal surf towns to volcanic highlands, every part of the country tells a story of endurance, adaptation, and pride. Those who move here are drawn not only by economic prospects or natural beauty but also by the chance to participate in a living, breathing culture that honors its past while embracing the future. As the sun sets over El Salvador's mountains and beaches, it's easy to understand why so many feel a deep connection to this country. The streets are alive with the aroma of traditional foods, the laughter of children, and the melodies of music that blend indigenous, African, and European influences. Expats, retirees, and locals alike find themselves caught up in this rhythm, discovering a life that balances history, culture, and opportunity. El Salvador is a place where every home has a story, every festival has a meaning, and every person contributes to the ongoing narrative of a nation that has weathered centuries of change and emerged with a unique identity. For anyone considering a move, a visit, or simply a deeper understanding of this Central American jewel, El Salvador offers more than expected. Its people, landscapes, and communities invite exploration, reflection, and connection. Whether walking along the volcanic highlands, enjoying the surf on the Pacific coast, or sharing a meal at a family gathering, there is always a story to hear, a tradition to witness, and a culture to embrace. In El Salvador, the past and present coexist, creating a vibrant, living tapestry that captivates all who experience it. Even after exploring every corner, there remains a sense that El Salvador is a place that must be felt, not merely seen. Its resilience, warmth, and diversity make it a country that invites discovery again and again. The homes, from modest village cottages to modern urban apartments and coastal villas, all tell part of this story, reflecting the hopes, histories, and aspirations of the people who live within them. From the bustling streets of San Salvador to the tranquil villages nestled in green mountains or along golden beaches, El Salvador is a country that captures hearts and imaginations alike, leaving visitors and residents with a lasting sense of connection.